Okay, back for a quick lesson on how to analyse comparatively. This is essential for Module A for Advanced English. There is a difference between normal analytical writing and comparative writing, and that's what we're going to try to address today. So when you're doing your comparative analysis, consider it to be that there are 2 points and that you have to figure out the relationship between those 2 points according to your study. Now, if you simply say that those 2 points are similar or different, okay, then it's not going to be good enough. That is comparison. It is not comparative analysis, and it is not a comparative argument. We need to develop other elements in order to be considered comparative analysis. So what do you need to consider? Well, you need to compare these, obviously. And there are certain things that you can compare or make your comparison based on. You can compare the themes. You can compare the form, the techniques used, the perspective offered, the genre and the conventions of that, perhaps the characterization, or even the structure. Any other technical element can also be compared in this case in order to develop your comparative analysis. But again, if you just tell me that the themes are the same, or that the form is different, or the techniques are different, that in itself is not comparative analysis. So what exactly does make it comparative? You have to tell us why. Why is that the case, that there is a similarity or a difference? And we are told very clearly why this is the case in the outline of your study. The reason why things are the same or they are different is because of the context from which it comes, the values which underlie the representations, the purpose of the composer, or the audience that they are writing for. All of these alter or keep the same the nature of the representation. So, hopefully we can clearly see now that we have 2 points. We figure out whether the themes, form, technique, perspective offers, genre, characterization, or structure, or any other technical element is the same or is different, and then we have to say why. And you can pick which of your reasons is most appropriate, and you are then specific about that reason and how it altered the representation or it kept it the same. So let's do an example. Let's just take for fun the story of Cinderella. Okay? Let's say we look at the 1950s Disney Cinderella compared with the 1998 Ever After Cinderella. Okay, so we get Miss Cinderella over here. You can see my amazing art skills. And we look at how she's been represented. She's very pretty and delicate. She's always in a dress, I think. I haven't watched it in that much depth. She sings to animals. All lovely things. Right? She has very fine features and delicate. She meets Prince Charming and she's saved by him. All of this is found by magic or by chance. Okay, now I chuff on over to my 1998 Cinderella. Oh, hang on, and this one is a cartoon, sorry. Very important. I chuff on over here. Now I have a Cinderella who seems far more real. For starters, it's not animated. Okay, she she's hardworking. We have a focus on that, and we seem to have, not that this Cinderella wasn't, but we seem to have the physical effects of that, impact of that. We have her as being very intelligent, and we can tell that. She gets to hang out in some part with Da Vinci, I'm pretty sure. She is in 16th century France for some part, or some version of it. We have period costuming. So we have legitimate reasons for particular outfits. We have her fighting back. Okay. So if I were just comparing, then I'd say, well, this is the same as this, or this is different to this, so on and so forth. And I would go back and forward between the two of them. Okay? And I said to you that in order to make this comparative, or a comparative argument, you have to be able to say why. I have to say, is it context, purpose, values, purpose, or audience? Or some combination of these, which allows me to say that there has been a distinct difference between these two representations of the same story. So if I go over here and I look at the 1950s, I can say, all right, 1950s, we still have pretty rigid gender roles. We still have women being overtly feminine and soft and needing to be cared for and swooning and all that kind of stuff. We've got animation. So perhaps we can argue that a lot of it comes down to the style of animation that was expected. Perhaps we also have this idea of innocence of childhood. This is a kid's story according to them. And therefore, perhaps they don't attribute a certain complexity to that child's story. Okay? And they want to have it as a simple, entertaining form of film. It's not there to teach a story, it's there to entertain, even if it does at a subconscious level teach a story. Okay, and that dictates what's going on up here, amongst other things. Over here, we say, okay, well, we're in 1998, so we're into our third wave of feminism. Which is going to dictate a shift in gender roles. Girls don't necessarily just want to go and see a film anymore where the girl is swooning and being saved by a prince. They want some individual volition because that is what they have been taught, that they have a right to take. So we see a shift in gender roles. We also see a shift in the form of entertainment. Perhaps we can argue it's becoming didactic, deliberately. Okay. We also have this rise of these biopic type films. Now, while this is not a biopic as such, because it's not a real person, we do have the style of that, so we're adding a certain realism to the situation. And we also have a new audience. If you think about it, we have the rise of the female teenager, have their own money now, they have their own films to be marketed to. It's not so much just what their parents want them to watch. Now, if I was doing a comparative argument, I would now go and find the similarities and differences between these two representations, and I would be able to tell you why something has stayed the same or why something has changed. And then that would equate to comparative analysis. Now, just to make things seem a little more interesting, you don't just have to stick to words like the same, We are looking at language which suggests some sort of shift or some sort of reshaping. So words like reframe, adjust, craft, reimagine, reshape, recast, interpret, alter, revisit, lots of re's coming in here, adapt, redesign. There's plenty more. If you're using that type of language when you're writing your analysis, then hopefully that is prompting you to start discussing why. Because instead of saying it's the same or it's different, you're suggesting that something has been reworked, and you can lead yourself to a cause and effect sentence, as we've discussed before, and looking at why, what is the cause for the recasting. And we come back and we say, these are the types of things we're looking at it being changed or being kept the same. And then we're saying they have been reinterpreted or reimagined or adjusted because of these particular elements. Okay, it's your turn to give it a shot. See ya.